If this is the sound of her soul, I fully understand why Athena is always running laps around the courthouse. Hello and welcome, I am the Chatty Sloth, and if you are a fan of character analysis and the Ace Attorney soundtracks, you have clicked on the right video. Today we're going to be taking an extra close listen to Athena Cykes' Objection themes from the two Ace Attorney games she's been in so far, Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice, to see how they support Athena as a character and help tell her story. I previously did a video comparing Apollo Justice's 3 Objection themes that I am quite proud of, so please feel free to check that one out as well. If you saw that video and you're back, thank you! You guys were so nice, and I had so much fun reading about the love you guys have for Apollo and the music of Ace Attorney. You're the entire reason I'm making this follow-up. As before, I have linked a playlist with the songs that we're talking about, as well as some extras I thought you might find interesting. And if you're not already wearing headphones, I might recommend putting some on. Let's get into it. This time, I thought it'd be a good idea to take a step back and start with, what even is an objection theme? In the Ace Attorney games, an objection theme is a musical track that typically plays when our protagonist has a turnabout moment early on in a case, where they've pointed out a witness's contradiction that shakes the court and starts to turn the narrative around in their favor. Later on, when things get more serious, that's when we start switching to the more intense tell the truth and pursuit themes. But since our characters usually start out the trial feeling nervous and over their heads, the objection theme moments are the points at which they really start feeling confident in their abilities. So, while all these objection themes share a determined, triumphant quality, each of our protagonists have a completely different song that is unique to them. Because of that, these tracks have come to be considered theme music for the characters themselves. Sometimes, leitmotifs or parts from these songs will be incorporated into other ones, like Apollo's A New Chapter of Trials being turned into the slower Apollo Justice, I'm Fine. Or vice versa, which is what happened with Athena. According to the liner notes for the Dual Destinies soundtrack, composer Noriyuki Iwadare first composed the track that plays over the game's opening anime cutscene, and he liked the bit that played over Athena's introduction so much that he decided to continue to use that as her theme. The version from the intro got turned into Athena Cykes' Let's Do This, a cartoonishly perky track that often plays over Athena's investigation segments or other lighthearted moments. But it was also used as the basis for her more down-to-business objection track, Courtroom Révolutionnaire. So just like the others, Athena's starting objection theme has that great, eager, determined quality. Hers is the most cheerful of our main trio. As the title implies, she's here to bring something new into the courtroom, and she's excited about that. I wanted to emphasize this because I'm about to spend a lot of time talking about the ways in which this track also isn't as cheerful as it seems. Because while it is triumphant and all of those other things, I wouldn't exactly say it sounds confident. I would describe it more as brave. There's something about this track that makes me feel uneasy, and I really wanted to put my finger on why. The first thing I want to talk about is the speed of the track. If you're curious, I discovered while walking around my neighborhood with these on headphones that Phoenix's objection theme seems to be a good walking pace. Apollo's, you need a little more pep in your step. And Athena's is on my running playlist. Specifically the Spirit of Justice version, but we'll get there. Starting from the top. In my other video, I talked about how Apollo's theme begins with this aggressive downbeat that gets in your face and then backs off just a little. For Phoenix, by the time he's gotten to Dual Destinies, the start of his theme is really restrained and has a slow build that takes like half a minute to really get going. But Athena's theme starts fast right out of the gate and does not let you slow down for a second. The first thing we hear is this super fast run. And then the drum set kicks in and we're going, let's go. The drums stay super present throughout the whole track, which gives it this driving quality. There's no stopping here or you're gonna get swept away. The thing you might not notice, but I definitely feel, is underneath the track there's something like a tambourine or a shaker constantly going tick, 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 tick. There's such a ticking clock feeling. Put that all together with how most of the melody is being carried by these tense, high strings. And I can't help feeling like, even though I'm succeeding, it's by the skin of my teeth and I'm running out of time. This is the tempo that's been driving her all this time, knowing that every extra second that she takes is another second an innocent man she cares about is spending in jail. But you might not notice any of that at first because so much of this track is still so upbeat. You've got the brass blaring in your face, all the sparkles and twinkles that bring that "let's do this" feeling. which does speak to Athena being this breath of fresh air in the courtroom as the title suggests. But some parts of it feel almost theatrical. Which makes sense when you think about what a complicated character Athena is. A big part of her story is about overcoming doubts. It's so hard for her to be taken seriously. People are constantly talking down to her and writing her off. Apollo first meets her while a cop is trying to drag her back to high school because he doesn't believe her badge is real. That's why she ends up being so touched by Apollo's doubt at the end of the game when she realizes what he's doing. He isn't working off any assumptions, doubting her because she's a young woman or believing in her because she's his coworker. He's trying to understand Athena herself. Because while she's standing up to all of those external doubts, Athena is fighting her own too. She started out as this shy kid who was so easily overwhelmed by everyone around her, and to this day, setting foot in a courtroom terrifies her. How is she even pulling this off? Well, she's put on a really good mask. Let's do this seems to be Athena's version of Apollo's I'm fine. It's part of Athena forcing herself to become the person who could do all this because she feels like she had to. This is a track for the determination and bravery of a young woman who had reshaped her entire life towards the purpose of saving someone, knowing there was no one else who would even try. So, what happens when you've dedicated years of your life to a singular goal and you finally accomplish it? So the Spirit of Justice soundtrack is looser in style than Dual Destinies. But since Athena's theme was already pretty playful, this tone switch isn't as big of a jump for her as it was for Apollo or Phoenix. Their themes have more changes that I found surprising, or I wouldn't have expected, while Athena's new theme feels like a more natural evolution of her original. This is not at all a criticism, because even still, the character of this track has completely changed. Starting from the top again, we're still beginning with that same hyperspeed run, but in Spirit of Justice, they've dropped it down lower. When we're nervous, we get tense and everything closes up, our voice gets all high and squeaky. When we're relaxed, when we're confident, our throat opens up, everything naturally lowers. So, having that run at the same speed but at a lower octave makes it feel less like Athena's rushing, and more like this is something she's now skilled and confident enough to pull off. After that, back in Dual Destinies, the next thing I noticed was that drum set beat, giving the track that driving rhythm we talked about. In Spirit of Justice, the drums are still here, but they're not driving the track anymore, for several reasons. First of all, they're pushed farther down in the mix, which is partially due to how they've loosened up. Meaning both that it sounds like the drummer is playing around with the rhythm more than just sticking to the beat structure. But also, literally, the Dual Destiny snare drum has this short military crispness to it that comes from tightening the head of the snare, giving it this high snap that cuts through in a way you can't ignore. Whereas the Spirit of Justice one is a little longer and deeper, which lets it groove in the background more. Instead, it's the melody that is driving the track now, which is so cool. First of all, because it's now being done by dual guitars, which sounds kick-ass. But also because it means that it's Athena herself and her voice that's carrying her forward. She's not being pushed by outside forces anymore. I love that for her. Let's get into some specific parts of the track. First, listen to this section in Dual Destinies. There's so much going on in this version, so many different instruments competing for my attention from different directions that I just kind of have to let it all wash over me. Especially if you're listening on stereo headphones because it jumps back and forth from side to side. Now, Spirit of Justice. This one is much more clear. The main focus does go back and forth, but now they're taking turns rather than talking over one another. It's like Athena's no longer juggling everything she can just to see what'll work. She's more confident about what to choose. And that just makes it sound so fun. When things are going well, Athena is enjoying herself out there. Speaking of, next we get our first brand new section, where the guitars just slow down and take their time reveling in being loud for a bit. That piano? It's so good. From here, the two tracks come back together for one of the most bombastic parts of the song. In Dual Destinies, I'd say it sounds like it climbs up a hill and then slides down into one of the most tense parts of the track. This part is so high energy with the horns and the sparkles and the drums, and then they drop it all out from under you. Before bringing the fast beat and those tense strings back. The Spirit of Justice version is just enjoying itself. It still builds and builds, but when it gets to the top, instead of everything dropping out and leaving those delicate sounding bells alone, here everything takes a quick break from doing their own thing to come together into one solid voice, and it is so satisfying. It still releases you into some of that tension from the strings. Being in court is still not a cakewalk. But it doesn't leave you there for long before the guitar comes back to make you feel secure again. All of it comes together to make a track that shows just how much Athena has grown. She's not scared anymore, and she's not driven by outside forces or doing this because she feels like she has to. By the end of Dual Destinies, Athena accomplished everything she set out to do. For the first time, she truly has the rest of her life ahead of her. Athena's case in Spirit of Justice, Turnabout Storyteller, might not have much impact on the larger plot, but I kind of love it for that reason. After all of Athena's court battles in Dual Destinies being so high stakes and personal for her, she's not trying to save any childhood friends. Bucky is just some guy she met 5 minutes before the trial started, and he's kind of rude. Her only personal stake in this is that Simon is going to be really pissed if she loses his favorite soba shop. This is Athena's chance to solidify her sense of justice and what being a lawyer means to her, beyond saving her friends. And if everyone in the courtroom could hear this track, they wouldn't have had any doubt that she was capable. Thank you for watching/listening. What do you guys think of Athena and her theme? Do you prefer one over the other? My biggest issue with Athena is that Capcom keeps leaving her out of merch and promo material. Not cool, guys. If you guys like this video, I think I've got one more in me on this topic. It's partially written already, and as you may have guessed, it is about Phoenix Wright himself. So let me know if you want to hear that one. In the meantime, I do have that Apollo video I mentioned if you haven't seen that yet. But if you're looking for more, I also have been enjoying the videos by... I don't know how to say his name. Jalopes? Go watch his Gumshoe video, you'll like it. He's entertaining and actually understands what keys and chords are. How do I end this video? Keep objecting.